Welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are doing conference tournament previews right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe Duffy, thanks for being back with us.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, you've been telling us in other previews that your nickname is Mr. March. Who gave you that nickname? How'd you get that nickname?
Now, that was actually, we used to have on our score phone something called the charge by phone, and it's my understanding, I think one of the customers called up and, called me Mr. March, and the name wound up sticking.
All right, I like it. Well, obviously you earned that nickname. Very happy to have you here with us analyzing conference tournaments. Now we're going to discuss the SEC conference tournament, a huge field, of course, and Florida is the favorite. They're minus 120 right now at 5 dimes, and obviously, they are a very, very strong team. But there's a lot of teams in the SEC that could upset. Kentucky, I guess, is the big wild card right now. Their odds are plus 250. Are they an elite team or not? Will they show up for the tournament or not? Not exactly sure. The third choice is Tennessee at plus 550. And Tennessee, if you've been following their games recently, they've gotten some huge, huge covers recently, beating the spread by 20, 30 points. And so maybe they could have some value. Then you have Arkansas at plus 1,500. And then Georgia, that's kind of one team that I'm looking at, plus 2,500. And they get a double bye. They only have to win 3 games. They've been a good team all year. ATS, plus 2,500. Then you have Missouri, Mississippi, LSU, all at plus 3,000. What's your take on Florida at minus 120?
Yeah, it's impossible to disagree with Florida. They're probably, of all the favorites of the major conferences, it's the one that I agree with the most because Florida has a chip on their shoulder. They have a talented senior class, and I said before that senior leadership can be a little bit overrated, but not in the case of Florida because it's matched by talent. But Florida has won, the senior class has won 3 regular season conference titles, but they've never won the conference tournament. So they clearly, and they've made it clear, they don't want to graduate without winning a conference tournament. So this is the best team and the most talented team in the conference with clear motivation to win it all. But what you said, Kentucky, they're a dangerous team. They've underachieved this year. They're in the NCAA tournament, so they don't have a ton of pressure. But they're a team that definitely needs to make a little bit of a statement here. So, again, I'm going straight in line with the odds here. Those people who watch our other previews, I'm not doing that with any conference. But when it comes to the SEC, I pretty much agree with what the odds makers are saying. But Kentucky could win this. They've got the talent there. There's no question about it. Does their philosophy of one and done. It can, Kentucky's just the opposite of Florida. They're freshman laden, but again, freshman-laden teams are the ones that improve as the year goes on. So this is Kentucky's. They were built for March.
Yeah.
No question about it, and here's a chance to prove it. And you're right, Georgia, Athens, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia, it's a little bit of a hike, I think about 90 miles, but they're still going to have a little bit of a regional advantage, and they used that a few years ago when Georgia on that crazy thing where they had the tornado, and they wound up having to actually win twice in the same day. Georgia would be the dangerous dog here, but I'm not going to go so far as to say they're going to win the tournament.
Right, I agree with you. I'd be much more looking to bet on Georgia in individual games as opposed to actually upsetting Kentucky. So let's look at some of these individual games. It's probably going to be Georgia against Kentucky in the semifinals, and Kentucky will be getting a bunch of points there, maybe a lot of points. I'm thinking that depending on how many points they're getting, we take Georgia against the spread.
Yeah, that's true, but again, it gets back to what I said. Kentucky, if they can get some momentum under their belt, I really think more than just about any power conference team, they need to make a statement here. I think they really want to go into the NCAA tournament red hot. So I don't know. I can see how Kentucky does. They're in a little bit of a statement mode here. But yeah, again, I don't completely disagree. I don't agree on that. But when you have a more talented team that has motivation to blow other teams out, which I do believe is the case with Kentucky, I don't know if I'm going to jump on the dog that quickly.
All right, and the only other one I have circled is a second-round game, Texas A&M and Missouri. Texas A&M really playing pretty well recently and impressing. They're 6-2 against spread in their last 8. Missouri kind of fading, 2-7 against spread in their last 9. I'm thinking a solid play will be Texas A&M against the spread against Missouri in the second round. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be. I actually have Arkansas, Tennessee, and Missouri, 3 teams circled as my predictably unpredictable teams, which usually means that you go with the underdog in games involving those teams, and especially if one of those teams wins the first round game impressively, that all of a sudden they could become fades in the second round because all year these teams have looked great one game, terrible the next game. So I'm going to look at the first round games a little bit more closely. I have a bunch of notes of things that I'm going to look for. But as far as the matchups, I haven't done them quite in depth yet. But those three teams, those three teams that I mentioned, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Missouri, I definitely have a red marker next to them as my predictably unpredictable teams.
All right. Well, Joe Duffy, I think we're in agreement here that at the current odds, there's no team that you want to take to upset Florida. Kentucky, maybe, but at just plus 250, no, that's a pass. So I'm agreeing with you. Florida minus 120 it is. Right, Joe?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Talk to you again very soon.